The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager. All right, let's have a live look at Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XVX index is trading at $58,473. Bitcoin is up over 2% over the past 24 hours. The CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is at $4,675. ETH is climbing ahead over 7.5% right now. Taking a look at the DFX, CoinDesk's DeFi index, trading at 551 points, advancing over 4% for the day. Joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Jason Guthrie, Europe head of digital assets at WisdomTree. Welcome to the show, Jason. Thanks for coming on. All right, so we're seeing a crypto markets bounce after a sell-off over the weekend. What's going on?
I think just the sell-off came on the back of very little. We had a bit of we came off a recent high. We had a lot of leverage in the market, which seems to have been flushed out a bit. And we had a bit of a sell-off in the equities market as a result of the recent news on Corona updates. But it seems to not really be taking hold, and we're getting a bounce accordingly.
Hi, Jason. Just to follow up on that. So one of the things that we saw last week was that, Bitcoin kind of crashed with the equities markets, like basically in response to COVID. At least that's the narrative. So that implies that Bitcoin is not really being seen as a safe haven. Would you agree with that assessment? And do you think we're going to keep seeing that going forward because, these COVID fears aren't going away anytime soon?
I would say that not everyone thinks about any asset in exactly the same way, right? So if something is going to sell off, it means there's more sellers than buyers on a given day. And I think when people are panicked, that they run back to their base. For a lot of people, their base is still their fiat currency, and they've come to crypto for speculative purposes. And so when people see negative news they think is going to lead to panic in the market, it becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. We've seen this across markets, across timescales. We saw this in 2020 for the initial kind of COVID announcement. We've seen it through any kind of the currency hiccups that we've had over the last decade. But that doesn't mean that the fundamental value proposition or the idea that Bitcoin is or could become or is to some people a store of value is undermined by the fact that it's sold off in line with equity markets.
So, Jason, we saw we're seeing now a bounce not just in Bitcoin and ETH, but we're also seeing it in the alts. Do you think that the alts will outperform the majors, Bitcoin and ETH, over the next few weeks going into New Year's?
I try to avoid talking about short-term price moves. I think that the market volatility is going to be affected by any kind of number of factors. I do think all things being equal, we are seeing more volatility, therefore, in the alts, and therefore they're likely to outperform in an upward market and they're likely to underperform in a downward market. I don't think that trend is going anywhere anytime soon. So let's see how the market goes over the next kind of coming months. But I think the idea that we'd see more volatility, more price action in the alts is to be expected.
So, Jason, WisdomTree is also launching a trio of cryptocurrency basket electronic traded products. Tell us what these ETPs will be composed of, and tell us a bit about, we're seeing a lot of Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin futures related spot ETFs. So what's the demand for this?
I think the demand that we're seeing for market access tools is only going to grow over time. It's definitely been growing over the past 12 or 18 months that we've been sort of actively engaged in this space. And that's a trend that we see continuing. I think sort of what has changed more recently is the narrative around where exactly in the market investors want to put their money to work. Historically, it's been very, very focused on the sort of very mega cap end of the market, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it's definitely widening out from there. I think the narrative that's evolved this year is that of the alternative layer ones or Ethereum alternatives. And this idea that the technology isn't a winner takes all, but a multi-chain future is definitely possible. This idea of interoperability is weaving its way through how people are thinking about the ecosystem that might evolve. And as a result, people are looking to take exposure over a wider range of coins, of tokens. And that's something that we're actively looking to provide tools for.